Steve, what's going on, bud? Still muted.
I'm unmuted. Sorry. How are you?
Not bad. How about yourself?
Good. You got me now?
Yep. All good.
Awesome. I'm just putting together a couple of notes here.
Excellent.
Good to see somebody on here early.
Yeah, I had to get a bunch of stuff taken care of first before I jumped on and figured what the hell. I gotta look at a couple things for one of my properties anyways.
There you go.
I love the progress that's coming along with some of yours that I watched on Instagram.
Yeah, I appreciate you checking it out, man. We got a lot going on right now.
What area are you in again?
Cleveland, Ohio.
Oh, okay. Right on. Yeah, I got.
Second. How about you?
Athens, Georgia, just east of Atlanta.
Oh, nice. That's cool.
Yes, the
what's the weather like in Georgia right now?
It was like 34 when we got up this morning, and it finished the day at about 65.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, it's not as bad as Midwest weather. I'm originally from Kansas City, so we got all the wonderful snow and influx of stuff that Ohio would normally get to.
Yeah, right on. Awesome. I haven't been to Georgia. I want to go to. I want to get down there. I want to check out Atlanta and the fish tank you guys got there.
The new aquarium.
The aquarium.
Yep.
Yeah. I guess it's not that new anymore, huh?
I think they added some new stuff recently. Last I went, I think it was like a year ago with my daughter and my fiance's kid.
Yeah.
But I think they put like Shark Tank or something in there, something pretty neat.
Yeah, that's cool.
You should let me know if you ever wind up coming to town. I'll take you out skydiving as well.
You're not getting me jumping out of a perfectly good airplane.
Oh, come on.
I don't know. I might try it. I have this thing that I kind of say yes to everything, so maybe I would try it. But I'd be one of those people that wouldn't go easily. You'd have to stomp on my fingers to get me out of that plane, I think.
It's definitely a good time.
Yeah.
I was wondering what you guys were gonna do. You're sitting in different rooms.
Well, I'm gonna stay muted. I'm not seeing the waiting room, so I don't know, like, to help you with that.
Well, you told me not to do a waiting room. Wasn't it you or was it Mindy?
Yeah, I think it was Mindy. Okay, so I don't have to worry about that. All you want me to do is make sure I'm tracking the comments.
For the giveaway, did Steve figure out what he was gonna do for the
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, nice and simple and easy. And okay, so then when it comes to the end, I'll be able to, I got the wheel on another screen. I think I'll be able to share the screen so that we can show it when it's picking,
Okay.
if all goes well.
And did you bring up the other link sheet? I added a whole bunch of stuff to it for you.
No, I did not.
I already know everyone's going to ask about the auction websites that I use. So they're all listed there. So you can like literally just copy and paste it if that question gets asked.
Yeah, you know what I'm trying to do is, since my office setup is new and I don't have my dual screens, I'm needing to figure out how I'm managing multiple devices. I got a lot going on, but it'll all be good in the end.
Okay.
So, yeah, so I'll just be muted, and if you need me to unmute for anything, just let me know. Hi, Mindy.
Okay.
This is so exciting. You're on mute, Mindy, unless you weren't talking.
Man, rookie mistake. You would think that I haven't been on Zoom meetings all day, but you know what I decided about our backgrounds? You know, like the flying cat. Have you seen those? And it works perfectly with the graphic I put on the slide. So I love them.
Oh my gosh, you're so funny. Oh, are you going to your book meeting?
I told them I would be very tentative because I don't like to commit to things until I know what other things are going to be like. So we'll see.
This is better than a book club.
I know. And the book we read was really weird. So
was it that the one that I looked up with the movie?
yeah. Dark places.
Oh, you're breaking up.
For a second. I know, I'm like, I hope that doesn't happen again.
I love our technology, right?
Yeah, it was funny because Steve, you were frozen with your pen was like this. Like I could just see part of it by your face.
Oh man. I had picked out the perfect virtual background too. I have Pablo Escobar's house from Vacation. I had a palm tree and I had it perfectly situated.
Is that what you just put on?
I love this. I did, yeah. Yep. Allegedly, the story goes that was Pablo Escobar's house.
Very nice.
But I like this. Who made this backdrop? Was it you, Mindy?
This one was me. I did this. Mindy did all the templates.
This is awesome.
Mindy did everything else except for the background.
That's not true.
Yeah.
All I did was the PowerPoint, and that's super easy. So
Very cool. I need to get, I don't spend a ton of time on Zoom, so I need to get more Zoom friendly and Asana friendly in all of those fun apps and websites.
Look at Mindy go. She's ready.
Yeah.
I know I was a rookie with the mute talk, but usually I'm a good presenter, so I'll try to do better.
Love it.
What time is it? Oh, shoot. I forgot to turn on my link tree. Shoot.
Yeah, I was going to, and then my mom called me and talked to me and stopped talking. So here we are.
I'm going to do it right now.
Oh my God, I can draw and stuff?
I know, guys. I've been paying for this Zoom for an entire year, and I literally just started playing with all the things. Like, I added the reactions. Do you see them at the bottom?
No.
Oh, look, I have a little
No.
heart on.
Wow.
Yay! See, Jake's celebrating.
I love it. I don't see reactions. I'm on my iPad.
Oh, you stink.
Oh, there. Oh, there we go. Jake gets to be part of seeing all of our setup stuff. How fun.
We were pretty much ready to go. We just had to make sure our backgrounds were all good and we could put this thing up and
Yeah. How's my hair? Everything good? My camera ready? Where's the makeup girl?
Actually, I washed my hair today, so that was a big step for the meetup.
Wow.
Proud of myself.
I'm proud of you. I put my Instagram handle on my name when I'm talking, so it should show at Done Right Home Solutions.
Oh, cool.
Does it show up? Is it cool?
It is. Yeah, I can see it.
You know, what's interesting to me, like I look, the thing that I don't love about Instagram is a lot of people put, you know, their own handle on there. So when I don't get to know people's names.
And see, I have the opposite where I can't remember real names, but I can remember Instagram handles. So I would call you your Instagram handle.
Yeah, I get it. I'm the same. I mean, I could remember the Instagram handle, but like when I had a hard time associating Mindy with you for a while, you know, and just every time I see different people and Kier, I'm like, what is her name again? How do you say her name? So all the names, I'm getting it. Zach is here. Look at that. Sherwin-Williams Zach.
Hey, can you see and hear me, Steve?
Yeah, I gotcha.
Is my camera on?
Yes.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, Zach.
You should put your
Hey, how you doing?
Good. I've heard a lot about
Zach, you should put your
Go ahead.
old Instagram handle on.
Yeah, I've retired that one, so it's Zach in real life now.
Okay, perfect. We're just getting rocking and rolling here, buddy.
Nice. I wanted to make sure I was like a good 5 minutes early. So
That away.
yeah,
Good, man.
5 minutes early is on time.
That's exactly my motto. And it used to be 10 minutes. I've had to work to try to get closer to the actual start time because I'm prompt. And it's annoying. I'm like, why are you like that? I don't know.
Yeah, it's probably one of my biggest pet peeves is like if a meeting starts at like 9 in the morning, people like show up at 9 in the morning.
Yep. I feel the same way.
I'm always I'm an early person, and it bugs me when people are late. Tenants, as a matter of fact, I use that as a qualification to finding tenants. And if they show up late to my interview, I almost always will never rent to them.
Yeah. They can't show up to the meeting on time. How are they supposed to pay on time?
Yeah.
Completely agree. So it is 7 o'clock, but
Let's skip the show on the road.
1 or 2 minutes, or do we want to just get started?
Yeah, I say give it a couple minutes because there's always.
Oh God.
Uh-oh, she's breaking up again. Uh-oh, now she's frozen.
Do I have the authority to like mute people and stuff?
Yeah, I just gave it to you, I think.
Yeah, hot damn. Look at me go.
You have power now.
Yeah.
Oh, Mindy, you're back. Are you?
Well, I can even kick
Yes,
kick
I
people
am.
out.
I
Look at
don't know
me.
why
I have all
it
the
does
power.
that.
Hey, Kirsten, I got some feedback for you on Deal Machine too. Whenever we get
Oh, nice. Yeah, Amy Hay has been playing with it all day. She's she's done like skip tracing the entire day. She's very excited about it. So yeah, if everyone wants to, we can start for now by if you want to put like your social media handle or your email address, or if you want to put like a website, I don't know, in there, whatever you want to put in and share. You want to network with other people and follow them who are on the call.
I figure while they're doing that, we can put ours up too.
Oh, look at that.
Nice.
Mindy also made that little, what's it called, for the meetup too.
By Mindy, she means Canva.
All right, well, I guess we'll get, it's 7:02. Is that good to get started, you think? Yeah.
I think so.
All right. Okay, so, yeah, I guess we'll just get started. I just need to move you guys in my way. Okay. All right, so first I just want to say thanks for joining the meeting, basically. And this is actually the first anniversary of me starting this meeting. So I'll be giving away an Ask Me About Real Estate t-shirt with like a little pop socket thing that says Ask Me About Real Estate too. Because I've gotten so many leads off of that and almost closed an off-market deal from it. So I believe in that kind of marketing, which I think is cool. So yeah, I started this meetup back in November of 2019 as a mastermind, even though I had absolutely no idea what one was, like what it was supposed to be, what it entailed. I just knew that I wanted to like network with people, and I knew I needed to start surrounding myself with like-minded real estate investors, and my local meetups just like weren't doing it. So we decided to grow this virtual meetup. So here we all are. So like I said, feel free to put in the chat your social media handle, your email, or your website, whatever you want to put there. And then I will actually compile like information thing. And if you want to get access to that, like I'll compile like a little list of everything. And if you want access to that, just, where's my handle? Right here. You can message me on Facebook or Instagram. Send that to you just so we can all, like, I'm all about networking. So if you want that, we can all reach out to each other and keep in contact. And then if you have any questions during the meetup, just type them in the chat. I'm sure we'll be able to find an answer for you with everybody that's on the call. And if you weren't here when we first turned this on, we were talking about how we added reactions. So I've been paying for this Zoom like premium for a year, and I literally just started playing with all the features. So it's pretty cool that you can reactions and stuff. I don't know, I've never seen it before, but I thought it was cool. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. If Steve, you want to do your icebreaker.
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, everybody. I'm Steve Stolman. So Instagram handle is @DoneRightHomeSolutions. And welcome to the Zoom Like Minded Investors Meetup. 1 year anniversary. How cool is that? I'm so excited. I too was looking for some like-minded investors, so I was kind of craving this. I'm so glad that you put it together, Kier. For the icebreaker, we talked about talking about a success. So I thought it would be good to talk about a couple of successes from in between our last meetup and this one. So I had 3 successes. 2 of them were new connections with other investors, great connections. One of them we met from the last meetup, and another one just through our networking. Got to have breakfast with those guys today, and they're local Cleveland real estate investors, and had a nice breakfast, and something that can turn into us doing some lending on and us doing some contracting work with. One other icebreaker that I have is one other success is we sold one of our properties since the last time we closed on our Maplewood house. It was a house that we bought to fix up and flip, and we were able to close on it just last month. So I'm pretty excited about that.
Cool.
So,
that's awesome.
Yeah, how was that for an icebreaker? Hopefully it was good.
Does anybody else want to share a win or anything or a success? You can put it in the chat or unmute yourself if you want to share quick. On that, that's cool. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, okay. So my name's Maya, and my success is I closed on my first investment property on Monday. And so very excited. And now I have to figure out how to rehab a house. So there's that, but I've saved so many things on Instagram at this point. I'm just going to keep going through all my little saved photos and images. Most people that I follow are rehabbing houses. So I'm hoping I'll be able to kind of refresh my mind on what people have done and see kind of what works best. So very excited. I'll be posting along about the journey. A few people who are actually on this call told me congrats. So thank you to everyone again. But yeah, that's my success.
That's
I
awesome.
see that this week. Congrats again.
Thank you.
Yeah, congratulations, Maya.
Thank you.
Hey, I just wanted to introduce us. I'm Josh, and this is Allie from the Phi couple. This is actually our first meetup. We're super excited to be here. I guess like a recent success for us is actually the apartment we're in right now is a duplex we just bought in September. So this is our second duplex that we have now owner occupied, and it's actually helped us a ton in terms of increasing our savings rate, and we're just really excited to be a part of this group now.
Yay, welcome.
Thank you.
So glad to see you guys in person.
I know. I feel like I know half of you guys already from Instagram, but cool to see everyone, in real time. So very cool.
Yeah, yeah. Does anybody else want to unmute themselves or share a win?
Hi guys, I'm Bridget from Bridget on a Budget. A few months ago closed on a property with a few business partners, so it was really exciting. But this week we actually had real life people come see the house. So after a bunch of no-shows for our showings, we actually had 3 showings happen because we're self-managing the property since we have 4 business partners, and it's feeling real, like we're going to get a tenant in there. So it's feeling good so far.
Awesome.
Wow. Yeah, that is so exciting. I love hearing the new investors starting their journey. It's awesome.
Absolutely.
Hi, everyone. My name is Hannah. I just closed in September on my first investment property. We are house hacking a duplex in Oregon. So it's actually 3-bed, 2-bath on both sides. So we have an inherited tenant on one side, and then we're also renting a room on this side. So it's very exciting. We're still kind of in the minor, updates phase, and then kind of looking at what we're going to do for the next property, maybe something seller financing. So very excited.
All right. Well, I guess that's it. Anybody else? Last call?
Well,
Okay.
if no one else is going to share, I'll share a couple from this past week. So I am actively looking for house number 5 to add to our rental portfolio. And while I've seen a lot of hard passes, it's gotten me that much closer to, I'm sure it's out there. It's thinking about me right now, and we're going to connect soon. I can feel it. And then the other big win is I'm wrapping up the last of my, I've been studying for my real estate test, and I should be done studying and ready to take it next week. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very exciting. Are you going to do, well, we can talk about that later. You can go into your slide.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do. So yeah. But yeah, I think, from what Kier said, I was actually reflecting on our meetup and trying to remember, because I think I've been with you since the beginning. So our 1-year anniversary is today. And I remember I DM'd you because you posted about your mastermind. And I think you had already had all the spots were full. And I was like, no, I want a spot. And you were like, okay, join us. And then, I think my favorite thing about our community that we have is it's just very chill, and everyone can feel comfortable sharing. And I'm really excited about the topic this month of strategy, because, I think within our community, we have so many different strategies that are represented on the call tonight, just from even the intros. I've heard so many people telling about, house hacking and getting their first rental. So I'm excited to hear and have everyone just kind of have an open discussion on what you're doing, why you're doing it. And, I'm really excited about this. And thank you, Kier, for setting it up and all you've done. And yeah, it's really exciting stuff. So without further ado, I don't have a bunch of slides or anything. Like I said, we're pretty casual. But I did think it was important to just kind of give a high level of
Uh-oh.
We lost you, Mindy.
Yeah.
our
still talking. Uh-oh. Now we lost her whole slides. I'm sure she'll be back. Oh, there she is. I was just gonna say we can go into something else.
Yeah, I don't know what's up with my unstable connection. I apologize. Rookie. I don't know. Anyways, hi everyone. I love this view. Let me go back to sharing my presentation and hope that doesn't happen again. I feel like that's part of the meetups now though. Like you just have to expect someone's gonna freeze, someone's gonna drop off, like whatever. So did you hear anything I said or was I just talking to the wall?
Yeah, you might as well just start over.
Exciting. So I had my trial run of what I wanted to say to the slide. I think one of the coolest things about real estate investing is there are so many strategies. So, you know, no matter what your current starting point is or what your end goal is, essentially you can take real estate and you can make it work for you. There's no one size fits all in investing. You know, I think a lot of times I'll hear of, you know, popular strategies out there, like the BRRRR is a very popular one, and, you know, scale up, go big. And I think that that strategy might work for some, but then for others, you know, maybe they have other areas in their life that they're interested in investing in, or other areas they want to focus on. And so they just want this to be a part of that, to complement it. So, you know, I'm excited to hear all of the different areas that we have represented from a strategy standpoint. And I figured I'd kick off the kind of discussion on different strategies that are out there with my personal experience. And I think Turnkey is something that, you know, it's an option that's out there, and that's really kind of how I got started. To be honest, I was a little bit scared to buy my first property, and I didn't want to take on a renovation. I didn't know what I was doing. I hadn't heard as much about all of these different strategies until I started with all of you and learning whatever was Turnkey, you know. I was able to just purchase it. After that, it's like, well, crap, what do I do now? Because and so I did Turnkey on the first two, and then from there, I learned about the BRRRR method. I go forward basis. So, you know, every property to my rental portfolio now, my goal is to refinance and repeat. And then, you know, as you can see, there's several other options that are out there and available. And I'm sure there's some I forgot. So feel free to throw them in the chat if, you know, you have a strategy that's not there. I guarantee I forgot one or two. But a couple of others that I think are good to highlight are, you know, like commercial. I think right now with the state of current events, that's kind of a, you know, hot area. That could be anything from renting out to retail clients, or I know here and a few others got to help me talk through an RV park I was thinking about buying a couple months back, or like self-storage is big right now. Commercial strategy. And then I heard someone in the intro talking about how they're renting a room. That's another good one. And creative communities, I wanted to share that one because I've seen a lot of people, you know, talking about how like bought a house and they turned it into a sober living house, and they're, you know, renting it out to the room, and they have this community feel to it. So I thought it was really cool. I think, here you do a pretty good job with representing in the house hacking space. So I don't know if you want to talk about what you're doing. Off mute though.
Wow. Haven't done that in a while. Okay, so I'll make mine kind of short. I grew up around real estate. My mom basically was a real estate agent. My dad owned a title company. This will all come together. They own like a bunch of rental properties. They also flipped houses. And my mom would say it was before it was the cool thing to do. So I learned a lot from them, but they were like your typical mom and pop landlords. And so they didn't do everything by the book. And when it came to flipping, like they rarely outsourced anything. They went through handymen like crazy. So like I never knew that there was a better way to do this whole like real estate investing thing. And one of the worst things that like I learned from them was that I could only buy real estate if I had the cash in the bank to do so, which obviously I now know is not true. So I got a corporate job at a property management company. So I wound up saving for my first investment to pay in cash. And I was able to partner with my dad. But unfortunately, he was diagnosed with cancer while we were on our second deal, and he wound up passing away like 14 months later. So then I asked my then boyfriend, now husband, if he wanted to flip a house, and he did. So we wound up purchasing a house to flip at first. We renovated it like totally ourselves, except for the electric and plumbing, I think. So it wound up taking us like way longer than we thought. We were way under budget, which was good, but we wound up putting it on the spring market, like right before winter. The nervous Nelly that I am, after 3 weeks without interest, and well, we had interest, but no one was qualified. We put it on the market for rent. So we wound up renting it out until the spring market. And that is when I got my first taste of rental income. And I was like hooked. I was like, but I could not figure, like I hadn't discovered like bigger pockets. I didn't have people in my life to figure out how I could like keep that property and still and purchase my next one. So we sold that flip, and then we wound up purchasing a single family that has an ADU above the garage, which is a 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom apartment. And we were living with family at the time. So we fixed up the apartment first, we rented that out. Then we fixed up the single family home, which is what I'm sitting in now, and moved in here. So we kind of use like a combination of the house hacking strategy as well as the BRRRR strategy, because after we moved in, we bumped out a dormer in our attic and turned it like the entire space into a master bedroom and master bathroom. That added a ton of value. So when we refinanced, we got all of our out. So we got an infinite ROI. And then we were able to purchase with that money another duplex that we're BRRRRing, which we're doing super slow because cash flows really nicely right now and the tenants are easy. So we're not like in a huge rush to renovate it. And then between those two properties, we flipped another house. It was a single family. I actually won it on exome.com. We used a private money lender to fund that one. And we just won another property at an in-person auction a couple weeks ago that we close on December 2nd. And so we're gonna move out of this house hack. We're gonna rent it out, make this whole property a rental. We're gonna move into the single family. It needs work. So we'll slowly fix it up over the next year or so. And hopefully we'll be able to refinance it, get all our money back out. But if that doesn't happen, the numbers still work with our strategy. We'll just have to leave more money in the deal. So yeah, my strategy is kind of like a combination of flipping, BRRRRing, house hacking, and yeah, so that's my strategy. Do you want to share what you do for your strategy?
Absolutely. So my strategy is mainly long-term buy and hold. And so I originally started off all I wanted to do was flip houses. You know, I was all excited about, I'm gonna become a millionaire and I'm gonna do nothing but flip houses. And another investor friend kept asking me about rentals. So she helped me see the light to realized that you can make good money on a rental, and you could basically have better benefits, long-term benefits, if you bought the house, fixed it up, rehabbed it, rented it, and then you could refinance it. And that, when I realized the refinance piece, that was before Bigger Pockets was telling me about it. I thought, hey, you can kind of get your cash out, refinance, and take some profit that way, and it's tax-free. So I purchased my properties. Sometimes I use private money, and sometimes I pay for it out of my own pocket. And we usually try to buy them for around $20,000, $30,000, sometimes 40. And we typically put about $20,000 in rehab in them. And we rent them out for up to about $1,200 a month is our highest rent right now. And our average rent's about $1,000. And I have not refinanced any of them yet, so that'll be next on my list of things to take care of. So currently I'm looking at portfolio loans, and I will lump in a pile of properties into a portfolio loan. I do some fix and flips. So I did my first fix and flip about a year ago, and that was exciting, terrifying, and all of the emotions all rolled into one. And it was profitable for us, so that was good. I didn't lose money. And we also buy multifamily apartment buildings, so that's been a real fun project for us on our so that's pretty much how I do it. Something I thought of today, I had this interesting thought as I was driving around. There's a lot of, in our area, there's a lot of schools, specifically like Catholic schools, that are closed. And I thought to myself as I was driving, I was like, why hasn't somebody turned one of those schools into like an apartment or something like that? So I don't even know if it's a viable thing, but maybe like a group home or something like that.
That's funny that you say something about a school. I just saw, I forget who it is. Someone on Instagram just bought a school. I don't know if anybody knows who I'm talking about. But yeah, he just bought a school and he won the property. He outbid like people who were thinking about turning the school into apartments.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I wonder if he's on the
See, it's always interesting when you think that you have this new idea, you got to run it past Google or Instagram, because somebody's out there already doing it, which is cool. But right on the corner. Oh, so one more strategy that we're doing is we are doing a live-in flip, I guess you would say. So we had bought a house we bought for an investment property, and we decided to move into it after we got our master bedroom fixed. So, so that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, our next
that's
sure. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say that's our strategies that we're hitting right now. So yeah, let's hear it, Kier.
I actually don't remember what I was going to say now because I was reading the so Corey just said that there's a school for sale, but they want too much for it, which yeah, I don't know how much a school would be.
Yeah, that would be interesting. I was just driving around and I thought, well, they're all kind of sectioned off into pretty large classrooms. They usually have plumbing in each classroom, or at least some of them do, and they have bathrooms in there. So it just totally occurred to me to think about that. And there's a lot of vacant schools in our area. So
I was going to say too, so in our market, that's actually a very, very common investing strategy. And then actually kind of refabbing or rehabbing old factory buildings into these really high-end loft style apartments too. So kind of taking what's already there as opposed to doing new builds and then creating something out of it.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. What area are you guys in?
We're in upstate New York, in the Albany area.
like the Capital
Okay.
District. So like there's tons of these like massive warehouses that were on the water. Like they're beautiful brick buildings, but super old. So yeah, they're creating these like high-end luxury loft spaces. We see them everywhere where we are. So
It used to be like
Okay,
an
yeah.
industrial powerhouse, and now there's all these factory buildings and newspaper buildings and stuff, and
yeah.
a lot of developers are coming in and building.
That's really cool. They do the I've seen that. We have a place here in Cleveland, Ohio called the Powerhouse, and they've done the same thing with warehouses and stuff and turned them into luxury apartments. It's pretty neat to see that and get repurposed.
Well, and you mentioned new build. That's an area that I've been really interested in. So I'm curious if there's anyone on the call that is currently using that strategy that wouldn't mind to chime in with what they're doing.
Yes, I do that.
Awesome.
I was
I
hoping
don't know if you guys can hear me well. My mic's been a little iffy lately.
We can hear you.
I gotcha.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So yeah, we do that. We started doing that we did it with our first house. It was kind of a house hack and kind of fell into it, but it was the only way we could afford a property. We didn't have any money down. Actually, we didn't have any money. And my parents told us about this strategy where you can build from the ground up and replace your down payment with your sweat equity. So you do a lot of the work yourself and you kind of replace the down payment. So we did that. We built our house from the ground up, and then we designed it to have an apartment in the basement. So after the house was done, we did the apartment, rented it out, got a HELOC after a year, and then we just kept going, building duplexes and stuff from there.
Wow, that's really cool. Where are you guys at, man?
Canada. I don't know
Canada.
if they have. We use a credit union, a local French credit union here. And
Yep.
I don't think they have them everywhere. Like I think they're the Cais Populaire. So I think they have some, there's a couple of branches in Florida, I know for sure, but I don't know if they function the same way. But I have met people through Instagram who have done this type of loan. It's called, what is it called? It is called something. I will find it and put it in the chat.
That sounds super interesting. We do have credit unions here. I have credit unions in Cleveland here. That sounds like a super interesting idea. And I have been considering doing a new build myself, and I'm trying to crack that code. I've thought about it quite a bit and just haven't put the action into it. And I don't know how viable that option is for us yet, but
Yeah, you have to be in a
something
really,
that we've been thinking about.
you have to be in a really specific market. And well, not really specific. It's just that your values have to be higher than your construction costs. So if you're in a market where it's really cheap to buy properties, let's say you can buy a house for like 150K, chances are you can't build it for that price, especially with the prices of today, the materials and stuff and the labor. So your values have to be a lot higher where you can come in under the value and you can do a lot of, we still do a lot of the work ourselves, but we also outsource more. And then when you can do that, well, then at the end of the construction, you can do it with private lending too, which I recommend. Yes, you pay more interest, but at the end, if you get higher rents than expected, you can get the property valued for more. And then we always cash out like a salary at the end. So we pay ourselves back, or we just take that money and put it into the next deal or something like that. But we always make sure that we can cash flow too. So we always have a minimum of $300 a door. And then our ROI, because we always pull out all of our money back and put it into the next one, our ROI is kind of infinite. Sorry, I'm French. Yeah, so I mean, but I definitely recommend if it's hard to find like those construction loans, do it with a private lender. We've done it with our last one because the bank kind of screwed us on our last fourplex at the last minute. So we had to get creative. We got a private lender and it saved us. And it was really, really, it's a lot easier, right? It's a lot easier to get approved. We just sat down with the guy, had a coffee and approved, and he gave us the amount we wanted and it was done. So that's the easiest way to do it.
Nice. I like that. And
hey, Nat, this is Ashley. I'd love to get the information on that program. I'm in the Seattle, Washington area, And I'm partnering with my brother, and we're developing, right now it's about 17 unit multifamily complex. We're still kind of in the early stages with our designer and stuff, but we'll be looking at finance options pretty soon.
Yeah, that's awesome. It sounds like a development project more than anything. We kind of stay away from development in general just because there's a lot of complications with the cities and there's just a lot of organizations that get into that. So we try to stay, we do infill projects sometimes, or like we'll buy lots that are already vacant and zoned for like, you know, for it's here it's called RV1. So it's basically we do that's like our specialty now. We do semi-detaches, but with basement apartments, right? So it becomes a fourplex. So we get around a lot of the bureaucracy and a lot of the paperwork crap that goes along with it. So we've thought of developing, and we've seen other people. I have family who have developed before, and it just became such a nightmare that it honestly, it scares me. And it's not something I told myself something I would never want to touch. So if you're doing like a subdivision or stuff like that, that's not something I would do. But sorry, you said you were doing what, a multi-unit?
Yeah, we're doing about between 17 and 20 unit apartment complex.
Shit, that's cool. I hope you get on that.
Yeah. We actually have some people mentoring us that have done it before.
Perfect.
From the same city and stuff. So hopefully they'll guide us in the right way.
And Ashley, I know you're doing out of state investing too. I don't know if you want to talk about your experience. I know you had a win in that a couple weeks back as well.
I did. So I'm located in Seattle, Washington. I have a small rental portfolio here, but I just got into out of state because Seattle is ridiculously expensive. And about a week ago, I closed on a single family home in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And tomorrow I'm actually closing on another one.
In Milwaukee?
Yeah, in Milwaukee. They're both in Milwaukee.
Does anybody else?
Interesting.
Oh, go ahead, Steve.
Milwaukee has been coming up as a place where out-of-state investors are buying quite a bit lately. I keep hearing that. So very interesting.
Yeah, so far from what I've seen, the properties are, you could get decent properties under like 100K.
Yeah.
Rents, definitely above the 1% rule.
That's awesome. Definitely buy in Milwaukee and quit buying in Cleveland, Ohio. Every out-of-state investor.
Yeah.
I'm actually in Milwaukee.
Nice.
Oh, nice, Tom.
Fantastic.
I am in the Milwaukee area as well. And I think Ashley, I reached out to. So.
Oh yeah. We need to connect.
That's great. Yes, everybody buy in Milwaukee, quit buying in Cleveland.
Stay away. I want it all.
Does anyone else have any strategies that we haven't talked about that you want to bring up, or even if we have talked about it and you want to share what you're doing?
I don't think there's many investors I meet in this community on Instagram that do warehouses. I have one and looking for additional.
Tell us more.
Buy vacant, fill it up with tenants. Take it from $35 a square foot.
Are you filling it with commercial tenants?
Yes. Yep. No residential.
So Tom,
if
I'm looking for storage I build widgets or something, and I want to port my pallets somewhere, warehouse my pallets, you would be the guy that I'd give a call to?
Yes.
That's that sort of thing. If I want to store bulk materials or something.
Yeah, my strategy this year was to connect with business owners who are looking to either expand or increase their area. And so I would try to find a building that they would move into rather than them going through a broker, having the team already built so that we can quickly get a new tenant into finding those tenants that could be the key. So let's say it's a 20,000 square foot building. Let's take a single occupant business out of the 20,000 and put 4 tenants into it. So we're able to increase our dollar per square foot on a rent roll. And then the other benefit in commercial is you can charge back all your expenses to them, so it's not on the landlord. Called a triple net lease.
So I was just going to chime in. One of the strategies discussed or mentioned was actually investing in REITs. So along with physical real estate, we also invest in REITs because it's not. There's something to be said about owning real estate but not having to manage it entirely. And so we actually are really big fans of like the industrial space, so like the warehouses, especially. Some of the REITs we own, their biggest tenants are like Amazon, FedEx, and UPS. So that's just another way for us to get exposure to different types of real estate without necessarily needing to own like a full-blown commercial building or warehouse.
I was hoping someone would talk to that because at first I thought it was called REITs and you called it REITs. So I learned something already. And yeah, I've been very curious about it. I've been meaning to do research. So what made you decide to invest in REITs?
Yeah, so there's something to be said about like if I want exposure to say a commercial building or like industrial especially. They can be very capital intensive depending on the market that you're in and require sometimes a certain level of expertise. So for us, we wanted exposure to that, but our kind of bread and butter so far is predominantly just small multifamily residential properties.
And like house hacking them. So that
Right.
feels really low risk for us.
Yeah. So our big thing too is also time freedom. So our goal isn't necessarily to own a bunch of physical property and then subsequently have to run around all the time managing those properties. So the power of REITs is they're traded just like stocks too. So they're not as capital intensive as maybe a physical property would be. And they're super accessible. And a lot of times too, 2020 has been a tough year for a lot of real estate, especially in the commercial space. But overall, I mean, you own shares within these REITs. They appreciate. They pay dividends just like a rental property would pay. Cash flow. It's taxed differently than what you get from like a property that you own. But it's just a cool way to get exposure anywhere in the country at the click of a button.
That's awesome. Can anybody say what REIT is an acronym, isn't it? Does anybody know?
Real Estate Investment Trust.
Yeah.
Can you,
Awesome.
I believe I've heard within a REIT, you can enter and exit kind of like stocks, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can buy shares so a REIT sounds complicated, but I mean, it trades just like any stock, right? So if you wanted to buy a share of Google, go on an app, click a button, you now have some share in Google. You can do the same thing for REITs. And that's where some of the kind of the fluidity of it, it's not nearly as cumbersome sometimes as like a formal closing with an actual property. You lose a lot of that control, but there's something to be said about not actually having to do much of anything. Yeah, you want to do your due diligence, kind of understand what you're getting exposure to. But it's just another way to, if you want exposure to real estate, but a little bit broader and more diverse, it's a really easy way to go about doing that.
Josh, what are some of the REITs that you invest in? Do you have some of the names of them?
Yeah, so I mean, we're really bullish right now on industrials long term. They're not, like traditional commercial space, like office space, stuff like that. I think they've been hit really, really hard. So, for instance, Stag, is the ticker symbol is STAG. It's a really strong industrial warehouse REIT. Again, their biggest tenant right now is Amazon, and they're growing like crazy.
Taking over the world.
Yeah. So they've grown pretty substantially over the last 5 years. They pay a monthly dividend too. So every single month they pay out a dividend to their shareholders. WP Carey is one of the largest industrial REITs in the entire world. They're a little bit kind of like old money, if you will. So it's more like FedEx, UPS, Costco, things like that. And then probably the most popular one is going to be O. It's Realty Income. They actually haven't lost any rent this year, and they're one of the biggest REITs in the entire country. Again, they pay a monthly dividend, so it's just like collecting rent. You buy shares in those REITs, and then every single month for like 50 years consecutively, they pay it back to their shareholders.
Thanks for sharing. Anyone else have any other strategies that they want to cover? I know I think like rentals, partnerships. I don't think we've heard much on small multifamily.
I have a quick question, not so much a specific strategy, but I was curious, and this is kind of like for everyone on the call, how much weight do you guys place on sticking with a strategy? Because right now with the second property, I'm like, do I do a short-term rental? Do I do a BRRRR? Do I do small multifamily? And I'm kind of all over the place. And so, but then it's weird because you hear some people who say you have to stick to a strategy because that's how you become not perfect, but you become knowledgeable and professional enough at it. So that way you can continue moving forward. But then I know people like here who've done a number of different things and it's worked in their favor. And so I guess I was curious across the board for different people on the call, how do you guys manage, wanting to do different things? Or do you guys usually stick to one strategy and kind of perfecting it and then moving on to the next thing?
So I'll give my 2 cents on the topic. I know just yesterday I did a post on Instagram about this, about how your strategy does not have to be set in stone. It's essentially, you as a person grow and change and you learn new things and your end goal might change. And then, look at 2020, the world around you might change. So there's so much change in the world that I think it's hard to just put yourself into one box for your strategy and not explore anything else. That being said, I think there's also value in perfecting, to a sense, what you can in one certain area. But like I said, I started out turnkey and I quickly realized oh, this is not the strategy for me. And so I shifted to the BRRRR. But like you said, I am a dreamer. Things change in my life all the time. I'm always thinking about the next big idea. So I've thought about short-term rentals. Like I said, a couple months ago, I was having the group analyze the park with me. So it's like, I want to keep my options open, but I still have my one true love, which I think right now is a BRRRR. But 2 years down the road, that might change. I might be like, you know what? I can look back to this meetup in November and remember Ali and Josh talking to me about what I thought was REITs, and now that's my strategy. So I think you have to just be open to being flexible is the summary of my thoughts there.
I also have a slight background in finance, and I think that there's something to be said even within real estate investing in diversification. So right at the beginning of when COVID hit, short-term rentals obviously took a really big hit. So anybody that was fully invested in short-term rentals was really hurting. But if you have a mixture of short-term rental, long-term rental, or if you're doing residential and commercial, those are very different, industries, and the income is coming from different places. So you're a little bit more protected as well.
That was a great answer, Hannah. So I am a dreamer. Mindy, I liked everything that you said, and I like to think that I'm super flexible. Every time I listen to a new podcast, I'm like, oh, that's what I'm going to do. I think Brandon Turner kind of does that too. He gets shiny object syndrome is what I call it. But every time I pick up a new property, every single time I put it through I call it my quiver of arrows. So I get a property under contract. A lot of the properties that I end up buying are direct from the sellers. So the first step that I do is I'll offer it up to my inner circle of friends and see if I can wholesale that deal. And if I end up, so I'll put a price to it. Hey, I got it under contract. If I can, with a few hours of my work, if I could make $10,000 on it or $5,000, I'll let it go if I haven't even touched it. Then step 2, I'll close on the property, and I'll see if somebody wants to buy it then. I'll keep tossing around my circle of friends. If you follow me on Facebook, or you might see it on Instagram, I'm always posting the properties that I'm working on and what I'm doing with them. So I can sell it at that point after I close on it. And then as I work on it, I'll keep everybody updated. And I always put on there, if you want to buy this property, reach out to me. So while I'm working on it, I put tenants in it. And by the time I'm finished working on it and I'm about to get it rented, I usually start falling in love with them. So it's a little bit harder for me to sell. But once I have them tenanted, I'll still kind of put it out there like, hey, here's what we did. And if you're interested in buying it, hit me up. I'll have a number I'm prepared with a number for that. And I would sell just about any of my properties now. And I always kind of have a number for them. And you'll see on Instagram a lot. I constantly get text messages from other investors looking for properties, trying to make offers on them. So I try to always have a number for it. And the Maplewood property was one of those where another investor wanted to get into the business, and I was just finishing that property. And I said, why don't I stick a tenant in here and you can buy it as a turnkey from me? So I did. And then I also have a nice portfolio of long-term rentals that I keep. So I kind of play all of those things. And every deal that crosses my desk, I probably get 3 to 5 houses to look at a week. And every one of them I put through that ringer. Like, could I wholesale it? Would it make a long-term rental? Is it a flip? Does it belong in my portfolio as a long-term rental? Or what can I do with this property? That's it.
So I just wanted to, Jessica commented in the chat that one strategy we have is to do additions to our rental houses, specifically bathrooms, because they add disproportionate value. And we also have found several properties which have 2 taxable lots, but are under one title, and then we can build on the separate lot. All of our purchases are out of state also. So to that point, I actually have a, kind of a funny story. So the first deal that I ever did with my dad, which we wound up getting for $25,000 at, which is crazy for the area we were in. We got it at a sheriff's sale, but we bought it with the owner still living in it, and he wound up getting a lawyer. He lived there for like 14 months while we paid like taxes, the sewer, the track, like all that stuff. We eventually got him out, but during that 14 months of like working with his lawyer and going through like, the township stuff, we found out that it was on a double lot. So instead of like flipping the house when he moved out, we literally subdivided the lot and then sold it to a builder, and he built 2 houses on the property. So, and I don't know if he's on the call, but I know somebody else just bought a property and is planning on, it's a double lot, and they're planning on like doing something with the second lot. So I don't know, that seems like a viable strategy too.
The house that we, the house that we are doing the live and flip on actually has 2 extra lots with it. So that's something I consider doing. There's space to do that new build if we decide to do it.
Would you though? Don't you love, I know you love that land next to you.
I do love the land. So the house that we are in, the house sits in the middle of 3 parcels of land. So the house on the lot on each side of the parcel that the house is on. So one, I want to build a shop in, but I keep in the back of my head that wood shop would be a garage for that parcel of land. If we ever decided to go somewhere else, like maybe move to the Bahamas or Aruba or something like that, and not want this house. So do I want to build? It's in the back of my mind. It's an option. I haven't committed yet 100%.
Does anybody else want to share another strategy before we?
Kind of on Steven's point, obviously I have not done this strategy, but I was curious if anybody in the call is doing international investing. So I know that some people invest in the Caribbean or in Mexico. And I was wondering if anybody's done that in terms of, I guess, either short-term rental or long-term rental or.
Great question, Hannah. I'm super interested in it too. After we just visited Mexico, it's something that I've been thinking about. So hopefully somebody can answer. I know in my area, there's a lot of people from Israel that are buying in Cleveland. So there's a lot of out of country investors buying here, but I don't know if we do it the opposite way.
Hey, this is Jessica, the shy one. So I'll speak up. So a lot of military families have bought in Italy and Germany. And it's actually interesting because often the lending is a lot easier. And I know that sounds really weird, but the lending requirements just aren't as stringent. And I think because they buy and sell a lot less. And then what happens is that you really just need to know your country. So I don't think anybody's going to be surprised. But for example, in Italy, as you can imagine, like the processes, just like navigating the government processes are way slower. Like the process of buying a house is slow. Whereas in Germany, it's pretty efficient and pretty straightforward. So I think the answer to that is just that it's like, just like in the United States, every purchase is local. Overseas, every purchase is really local. But I was surprised at actually that the financing was not the issue. Again, I can only speak to Europe. What they were finding was that because people move so much less, that there's less turnover. And so it's actually harder to find a property a lot as well. But again, like if you're looking in the Caribbean or, you know, Central South America, that could be totally different. And then of course, there's just like the legalities of like home ownership and, you know, how protected you are in some of those countries. But that is what I know.
Do you know anything about the like rental market in Europe then?
Yeah, so you can make some really good money. So my husband and I actually, we are looking at buying in Italy. So because now we just have connections to kind of deal with some of the local governmental stuff. I would probably not have bought in Italy before having lived there. We just moved back from Italy. And yeah, you can make some good money. But what you're going to want is a third party property manager. At least in my opinion, that's who we would hire. And again, it works pretty similarly to kind of what we had set up, or like I invest out of state. So all my properties, we're in Texas right now. All my stuff's in Virginia. We have 22. And so it'd be pretty similar. You'd have a manager and you'd go through all that. You would need to have, now the one thing you're going to have are overseas bank accounts, and you will be reporting taxes and income. You'll want an accountant, and that's a big deal. Like doing all of that on your own. So that was kind of like the other thing.
So I looked into South America. My boyfriend's a dual citizen in Colombia, and his grandmother is buying a 2-bedroom apartment. So there's a lot of development in these third world countries right now. So these huge like condos, but like they're like 30 stories, like 4 units per floor. And we looked into it, and what the Colombian government's doing is they're giving you a $10,000 I guess incentive to, hey, buy a unit here. So right now they're not even built. They're starting the building process. But the catch is, well, first, like you mentioned, the banks, like we have someone who invested in Brazil, and they just had a problem with their bank account, and they literally had to fly to Brazil. There was like no other way to fix it. He's like, I guess I'm getting on a plane to Brazil this weekend. And on our end, it's the way they're doing the build is like, so in American money, it's like $30,000 to get this condo, which is great. But the catch is it doesn't come completely finished. So like they finish it to an extent. So like you might have to finish the bathroom or finish like spackling the drywall. Like they get it built and then they leave it and they're like, you got to finish it. So we're really into it. I'm like, oh, I don't know if we could get over there and like go to Colombia for like a month. And you know how things work. Like you think it's going to be a month, it turns into 2 months. And but that's what I know for South America. A lot of development, a lot of incentives if you have a citizenship, but the banking could be difficult.
Well, I think I mean, I wasn't seeing that going to out of country investing too. I told you I forgot some strategies on here. So I think that's a good way to wrap up the strategies. And I don't know, Kiera, did you say you had something you were giving away too?
Yeah, we're gonna, so Kirill, if you want to bring it up on your screen, we'll just do it with who you have.
Yes, I can pull up on my screen. Give me a second. Hopefully I got everybody. Before we lost the connection, I grabbed those that contributed from the comments.
So I'm giving away a Ask Me About Real Estate t-shirt and a little pop socket that goes on the back of your phone, because it's the way that I got a lot of, I didn't close on any of them, but I've gotten a lot of leads from it. And I just love when people come to me about stuff.
It's so nice when a deal finds you, isn't it?
Yes.
Kier, do you have more of those shirts? Or did you have them made? Where did you find them?
Those were just on Amazon.
Okay. Oh, cool.
Oh, I see. Yeah, so that wasn't everybody. I see what you're saying, Kirill. Yeah, we don't.
So if there's anybody that's shared whose name is not up here, please let me know and I can add you in real quick.
And then if whoever wants to stay too, afterwards, we're just gonna stay on for maybe till like 8:30, just hang out and chat. No, like, what's it called? Plan, no agenda. Nobody else? Okay, I'll just be between.
Hi, I'm sorry. What is this picker wheel? I kind of missed it a little bit.
It's for, I'm giving away a t-shirt and a pop socket. So if you just want your handle, Instagram handle or name in the chat, you can.
Well, it was for those people that were sharing a success, like something that they were celebrating.
Ah, okay.
Oh, true. I forgot we did that already.
That's okay. There's
Oh,
a
nice.
lot going on.
It's been a long day.
I hope I win. I shared a success.
I did not put hosts or co-hosts in the wheel. So
okay, spin it.
All right.
Oh, how cool.
Oh, that's a little cool thing you found, Kirill. Oh, Corey, yay.
I love this wheel.
I have his information, so I'll email you, Corey.
I love it.
Cool.
Hey, can I add before we close things down? I forgot to talk about Sherwin-Williams.
Oh yeah. Where is Zach?
Right over
Zach's
here.
on here. Yep.
Oh, there he is.
I follow a lot of you on Instagram, and I know you follow me a lot, and it always cringes. I always cringe when I see people using a Home Depot paint or another brand of paint. And the reason is because that used to be exactly what I would do. I'd go down to my local Home Depot, I'd buy me a 5-gallon of paint and thinking I'm saving all kinds of money. And finally, I actually worked with a buddy of mine that is a professional painter. And he was telling me about opening up an account with Sherwin-Williams. And so I did that. And I have found that my paint costs are significantly less than what I would buy at Home Depot. Zach, am I allowed to share what my paint costs are on like super paint?
Yeah, you should be fine.
Okay. So how about I'm under $30 a gallon on super paint, which is the paint that I tend to use on my product. And I think comparable, I was paying $50 some for a gallon of paint at Home Depot. And the great thing that I found is I have a Zach, and you guys can see him. So Zach is on this call, and he's a real estate investor, as well as my Sherwin-Williams rep. And an interesting thing about having a Sherwin-Williams rep is not only we've become friends, but I can shoot Zach a text message at 11 o'clock at night and tell him that my sander blew up. And he responded at 11 o'clock at night because Sherwin-Williams sells more than paint. And the next day, we discussed buying the sanding product that he uses. So Zach, can you want to talk about starting an account?
Yeah,
real
is there?
quick?
Am
And,
I on the shared screen right now?
Yep.
Yeah. So, at Sherwin-Williams, we focus more on relationships than anything else. We understand that you could pretty much buy paint anywhere, but it's some of the other things that we offer that really make us stand out from the competitors. Often I'm working with people who rent houses, flip, rehab, that are just now getting into it, and I can come out to the project, give them a little bit of an idea of what they would need to do, how much paint they would need per room, and work within their budget to find a product that would fit their needs, without sacrificing quality. Like, people think like, oh, it's cheap, it's gonna not be as effective as a more expensive product. I work with all of my contractors and investors to find something that fits for them.
That's awesome. And I love that I can pop into the store. So I built a relationship with the store managers and with you, Zach, the area rep. And I can just get I walk in and I'm like, hey, what should I be using? I got major smoke damage, or I got a smell issue, or I got whatever. And I felt strongly enough about the savings and the value that you guys bring to ask you that, to have you do a quick talk like this, to share it with other investors, because I think I'm saving close to 50% of what I was paying at Sherwin-Williams. And I get way more value. Like, I have my store manager's phone number. I can call him almost anytime. I have your phone number. I can call anytime when I get into a jam on something and ask questions. And I don't have those guys' number at Home Depot to ask those questions.
Yeah, and
It's all about the networking and stuff. Like, it's relationships.
Absolutely. I say the world revolves around communication and contacts. So
yeah. So if anyone else is like, in the Cleveland area, that is not currently set up with Sherwin-Williams, drop your email addresses below. And quite often when I talk to investors, they're like, oh, I'm not the one actually putting the paint on the wall. I let my contractors buy the product. Well, the nice thing about running everything through your own Sherwin-Williams account is organization. You can have every job attached to a PO. So if you ever have to go back and do touch-ups, you can see exactly what you spent, exactly the address. And again, what Steve just said, everyone's paying different pricing. So you would have more of control on the amount of money that you're spending on product. I often will help my customers out, be like, hey, like, you're buying 30 gallons, like, let's do it for this price. Versus at Home Depot, it's an everyday price no matter what.
yeah, absolutely. I love it. You guys are, and you guys also, that happens to me a lot. If I'm trying, you give me new products to try too. I'm a contractor as well as a real estate investor, but occasionally I'll get a gallon or two of something like, hey, try this out, see what you think. Or if it's a bulk buy on something, you guys give me a little better pricing. So I absolutely love that. I love working with it. And every time I go to Home Depot, I notice there's usually a different face behind the paint counter. So
yeah, hopefully you're not going there too much.
I know Steve and Zach, you guys are in Ohio. I'm curious where everyone else on the call is from. I see Amanda, Kansas City, yay. But where's everyone else calling in from? You can chat it in or you can unmute because we're totally chill now. So
this is the after party in case you guys see Mindy's screen.
I'm in Fort Worth.
Fort Worth.
Yeah, Texas.
I'm down for the after party. I'm in Maui, so sipping
Hi
on
guys,
Maui.
I'm in Lake George, New York. Sorry.
If you would like to host an in-person meetup in Maui,
right?
Yes.
would not be
there.
upset.
We're Whoever is from Lake George, we are from Troy, so we're super close to you. Sorry to interrupt you guys.
Yeah, hi. It's only an hour away.
And then I know Jen and Joe, you guys are from New York, right?
Yeah, we're actually in Rochester.
What is it? 525? Jen buys 525? And then I'm in Pennsburg, Pennsylvania, which is an hour and a half north of Philadelphia.
Oh, not far at all.
Yeah. Yep.
We're actually working a deal not far from you in Elkland, PA.
I've never even heard of that.
Small town. Yeah. Did you guys go over creative financing yet?
I mean,
no, we haven't had that as a meeting yet, but we're totally open for ideas. So.
I mean, if you guys want to talk about what you do, I love
Yes.
what you guys are doing. So like, take the floor.
Show me the money.
Been doing solar financing.
Well,
Yeah.
the thing is neat about seller financing, I was listening to all of you guys talking, and a lot of it is the bank. And it's always, what we can do as real estate investors by bank sometimes. But I mean, we are buying as many properties as we can with never walking into a bank or applying for a mortgage because of seller financing. And with creative financing, there's ways that you could flip houses. There's ways that you could, a different way to wholesale them either that nobody's really doing. And it blows your mind that you talk to all these investors. And when I say this, it's like, they don't even think of this concept. So there's a lot of different unique ways to doing seller financing for selling and buying. So and we do a lot of deals virtually. We have one actually not too far from you guys in Clifton Park we're working on right now. We have a house under contract, reached out to our marketing, and it's we were going to do it as a creative financing, and then back taxes and other thing arose, so we're just wholesaling it. And it's a ARV of a $400,000 home. It's a beautiful house in a beautiful neighborhood. We're getting it for like half off. So
Joseph, how are
Can
you
I
getting
ask
your
a dumb question
leads
about
for
seller
those?
financing? Ooh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
Let me use the toilet.
How are you getting your
I had a
leads for your
question.
seller financing? Sorry.
We do a
Go
lot
ahead.
of Facebook. Yeah, Facebook marketing seems to be really working well for us.
Yeah, it seems like Facebook marketing does well. We do sponsored ads. We do a lot of live, and that brings us a lot of leads right off the bat.
What do you say in your ads?
That we could buy your house, that we want to buy your house. What really sets us apart is that we can buy your house for full price. That's really the big separator, because everyone who's a wholesaler, they're going to want to get it for 50 cents on the dollar. And we kind of go with the approach like, hey, you probably have a lot of these lowball offers, right? Yup. Well, one way that we could actually pay considerably more is XYZ, and you get into it a little bit more. And you could buy as much as you want. It could be commercial. It could be residential. It could be really whatever you want it to be.
So what kind of tips do you have for someone who, like me, I've tried to negotiate 3 seller finance deals and I failed on all 3. I expected that. I'm giving myself grace, but I'm clearly doing something wrong. So what kind of tips do you have for someone who is generating a lead and they've got an appointment set and they're going into?
So it's not going to work for everyone, and that's okay. It's
really a numbers thing. I think you really have to talk to a lot of people in order to find, the person that's going to work for and their situation. Obviously, everybody has a different situation that they're in. And once you get to know that person a little bit by asking some simple questions, it's going to lead you down that path of whether or not. And so we've made the mistake of going out to a house and meeting somebody and wasting a lot of time and only come to find out there was no deal to be had. So I think it's having that system in place before you even walk out the door. And in our case now, we're just doing everything on our phones. So, but even before that happens, it's a lot of questioning.
It is.
I'm like you, Mindy. I've done like 2 failed attempts. So I'm glad, because I'm like, now I'm afraid to do yellow letters or anything like that to generate leads, because I'm like, well, I'm like 0 for 2 right now. Like, I don't want to keep like pissing people off by being like, why did you waste my time?
That's a
That's my fear right now.
right there. You have to kind of,
Yeah.
okay, it didn't work those two, but like get back on again and smile and dial, or get the yellow letters going, or just go on Facebook and chat. What really works, I think, is telling the stories of the people that you're helping, because that's the part. We're not just the sign on a pole right now. We're a mom and a dad, and we're running a business, but most importantly, we're helping people in these situations that some of them honestly don't think they're going to get out of. And that's really what warms my heart. And, so many people are just looking to, like, they inherit a home, right? Like, they don't want to deal with all of the stuff. We had how many dumpsters at one house?
7.
Seven dumpsters
And
left.
now the roof is there. There's probably going to be at least 2 more. So we're going to be up to almost 10 dumpsters.
But that relief, to find the pain point and then provide the solution, then that's really, and it doesn't happen on every deal. And there's people that, oh, you just wasted my time. Well, I'm sorry. Have a nice day. And you move on. You kind of have to just like turn that part off a little bit. At least I did.
So I think the thing is with creative financing too, she's 100% right. Like Jen is a beast, like is amazing, because we have 2 guys that work for us, and their job is to constantly work with sellers and to kind of pre-screen them for us. And she's right there with on every single step of it. We have meetings and we constantly meet with them to make sure what leads they're working on, because there's more than enough leads ever out there. You just have to ask enough times and you'll get them. And the ones that actually do business with us, it's the weirdest thing. They're like, okay.
It's so easy. Like you didn't even, I'm like, did that just happen? Like there was no begging. There's none of that,
Yeah.
And it's, I think part of the stigma is that it's not traditional. And so you really have to step outside of that box and say, okay, this is creative financing and not for everybody, but this may really work for you. Kind of go that approach and just kind of, have fun with it. Cause I'm a perfectionist and I like everything perfect. And I had to kind of really work on myself and get past all of that, because no one wants to hear no, but like I listen to Grant Cardone to get kind of revved up a little bit, because obviously like he's out there and not like that.
Love me some Uncle Grant.
Yeah.
And he's fantastic, and he really does. And I think the one thing is you got to be persistent at it. But I mean, we just bought a house in another city that we did virtually. We did a walkthrough on, and we negotiated. It was a free and clear house that it's a 0% mortgage. We pay him $1,000 a month, and that goes towards what we owe him. So every year we have a $12,000 pay down. We bought the house with almost $40,000 of equity right off the bat in it. It's a beautiful house in a beautiful neighborhood. The previous owner spent $130,000 in renovations to the house. So I mean, there was going to be their forever home. Then they decided they want to move down south to be closer to family, and it's a heck of a deal.
It makes no sense on one hand. You're like, why would somebody do this? And on the other, he's just like, I want to leave. I want to go live down south. I don't want to put it on the market. I want nothing, And so you can't assume anything is the other tip I would say. Just blank slate, this person, get to know the situation and don't assume anything.
Right. And because
So I know you mentioned the 0%. What other you usually try to negotiate?
So what other terms as far as that goes, like, your 4 points are going to be your money down, which you want to do with 0 money down. Your second point, you got to look at it as a chair. Okay. And there's got to be 4 legs to a chair to make it sit. Right. So there's your legs to the chair is going to be your monthly payment, your money down, the price of the house, and the term. How long, the length.
And for us, our exit strategy, which we didn't say was rent to own typically. So the term is really important to us too, to have that time to have to pay off that house.
Yeah. So what could happen is we have some where we have a balloon in place.
Yeah.
Because at one point they're going to want to get paid in full. I never will do them under 5 years. The absolute least. And if it's going to be a shorter term, it better be no money down for sure. Because you don't want to put money out of your pocket for a shorter term. It's just asking for trouble. But now if it's a longer term, 15 years, we have a few of them that are in their 20 years, 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
One just refinanced her mortgage and then decided, I don't want to be a homeowner. This is a terrible choice. I'm leaving. I want to go back to the renting world. And there's 30 more years of this mortgage. She's like, here you go. And once again, another scenario where we got almost $40,000 of free equity, and the cash flow is $650 a month. We had to shell out money for closing costs, $6,000 for her to leave. 5,000 in painting, and we got that right back and then some within about a month and a half from our down payment from a tenant buyer. And so we're profitable after 2 months. And from here on out, we're making about $650 a month cash flow, and we've got no credit on the line, no money in the line, and it's a profit cow for us right now. And if this buyer ever buys us out, we still have like another $40,000 almost back end check, $30,000 right now. But as they pay it down every month, it gets bigger. So with that being the case, those are the kind of deals where you love, because once again, no bank's going to tell you what to do, and you could buy as many of those as you can get. There's nobody stopping you. So you could buy millions of dollars a year in real estate without a bank telling you no. You have to have systems in place of how you're going to exit these, which is important. And you have to have, you don't always have to have cash flow, because you could buy it on a lease purchase too. There's so many different ways to skin a cat. It's pretty cool. But even how to flip homes, another way that's really working well is we have a house that we're working a deal on right now. The family's inheriting a home. They're going through the probate process now. And they want $130,000 for a home. All the other investors came in, they're offering $100,000. ARV is about 200, 190-ish. And it's going to need about 25,000 in rehab. It's a nice home. It really is. It just needs some updating in it. So he really wants 130. Everybody else is at 100,000. So I explained to him that we could actually buy it, and I think I'm in your price range. But if you have some flexibility, because I know you want to get cash now, I hit him with terms. They really don't want to sell it. I'd love to have that in terms, because it's a free and
But they
clear house.
emotionally need to be done with the house, so we respect it.
So yeah, we totally. So I said, listen, everybody else is offering you $100,000. I think I could pay pretty close to what you want for it. But here's how this is going to work. I'm going to buy it from you, and I'm going to do no money down, and we're going to close on it now. And you're going to give me probably 9 months where I'm going to put money into it, rehab with my guys, my energy, because they live out of town. And then I'm going to put on the market with the best realtor in town. And anything I sell it for more than what we agree upon, I'm keeping. So these are scenarios where I could flip a house and not have to come up with the house and the rehab. I only have to come up with the rehab portion. And I'm not making monthly payments. They'll put a lien against the house, so he's the first lien against it for that property. So once it sells, he gets paid. So he's happy because he knows that, and I'll still negotiate it to probably 120. So if I buy it for 120, I'm told $20,000 more than the competition. And if you could wait, give me 6 months because of how good the market is right now. And now if I'm only having to come up with say 25 to 30,000 out of pocket to make 30,000 clear after I pay my realtors and holding costs and all that, that's a lot more of a doable scenario than having to borrow 100, 120 grand and plus the 30, plus the closing costs and holding costs to make just a small portion. That makes it not really worth the money. So you have a lot less money in the line by asking the buyer if they do need to get cashed out now in a property that needs a lot of work. If you could see there's the flexibility in there to maybe you don't want to wholesale and you want to do a flip, what we call our mini flips, your money on money is fantastic on those deals. So those are some cool things you could do.
I don't know about you, Mindy, but the other thing is like proposing interest rates is really intimidating. I think that piece of it, because I'm like, it's just kind of like you just make up your own rules. And I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like the 0% sounds crazy, but obviously that's the preferred thing if you're us. So how do you guys decide like what to go in on with that?
So I'm never going to want to pay interest, and I never want, probably never will. This is our third 0% mortgage we've done this way on free and clear houses. So I tell them that, typically how this works is I'm going to pay you X amount for the house. I'll take care of the taxes and the insurance. And if it's a house, it's $100,000 range. I'll say I'll pay you about $500 a month, and that's going to go towards what I owe you. So every payment I pay you goes towards, it's a little bit coming off the house. And they agree to that. And
how much do you put down if you're asking for 0%?
I put no money down. The one guy, I had to fight him to take my $100. I said, take your wife out to dinner. And he was like, fine, I'll take your $100. Like, mad about it. I signed that contract at a McDonald's.
So literally you're making like $500 payments a month. 0% interest with no money down.
We have to pay the taxes and insurance.
No, I'm skeptical because I couldn't do any of that. But I think what you said though at the beginning is, I don't think the people I've been talking to are in a situation where they're like, I'm out. So I think it goes back a step further. I'm negotiating with the wrong people, it sounds like.
Not always, because you'll never know. You don't know until you ask the question. Don't second guess it. You ask the same question the same way 100% of the time and let the cards fall the way they fall. Don't second guess it, because you'll talk yourself out of it. We had a situation where the guy inherited his grandfather's home. He's been renting out to his buddies for years. It's a nice house in a nice neighborhood, but we could pay top dollar for it, because I could pay if the house is worth $90,000.
That was a yellow letter too.
Then that was a yellow letter.
Yeah.
But if you have a $90,000 home and you want me to pay $95,000 for it, but I have a 0% mortgage for a really long time with no money down, I'll pay you $100,000 for that house.
So we're finding people that work best, they don't want to deal with something. They're not distressed. They're not like always, inheriting a home, but maybe they just want to leave things behind and they're moving down south. Or a gentleman had a rental property near a college out here, and he's like, yeah, I'm actually an accidental landlord. That was one of the videos that we talked about, where he was, he liked the money coming in, but he was just done fixing things around the house and just wanted to walk away. And he gave us, I think 6-7 years terms here. And
so I'm curious, and Tim was asking, why would a seller consider doing this option versus other options they have available, like selling it at a discounted rate to get the money and run? Because that's what happened with one of mine, is he got a all cash offer, and he decided to go with that instead.
Right.
If they need the cash right now, they might take what's less. But what was the phrase? Like more later.
Oh yeah, you get less now or more later.
Yeah.
Well, because the reason why is we're not a realtor. We will pay their closing costs and our closing costs, so that saves them thousands right off the bat. They love that. And we buy the house as is, and there's no appraisals. So you don't have to worry about an appraisal coming in there. You don't have to worry about an inspector walking through your house. You don't have to worry about showing it in the market. You don't have to have a realtor come through and say, now you got to paint and take all your stuff off the walls. And we tell everybody the same thing, which they absolutely love, is if take all the stuff out of it that you want that's valuable and important to you, but anything else, leave it behind and we'll take care of it for you. And that is a huge, it doesn't sound much to us, but if you just got a house, rather through a tenant that you were renting it to and it's left a disaster, or rather you inherited a home, or rather it's you just moved out of your old home to a new home, but there's still a lot of stuff you left there behind because you don't want it in the new house, it's not nice enough for the new house, and you're making double mortgage payments, or whatever the scenario could happen. That's a tremendous, when you have 7 dumpsters worth of stuff, that's a tremendous relief. And so that's why when you make it super easy for them, the one interview that we just did, the lady we were in the parking lot at the closing, we bought their house with no money down. We had to pay their closing costs, which was $3,500. We have a house that's in one of the hottest neighborhoods in the area. We have $30,000 of equity. We're probably going to get $500-600 a month cash flow. I don't think it's going to last very long. Probably get a $25,000 down. We actually are getting an application with somebody who's got a $25,000 down payment. So those deals are really nice, especially because they're taking the house as is. We didn't paint it. We didn't do anything to it. So really, it's a fantastic deal. And when we went to close, when we were finished, they told me and my friend that we were like a knight in shining armor, and which is kind of weird, but that was cool.
Can I jump in real quick? And I'm sorry. Well, first of all, hi, everybody. My question is it true that all of these deals you're talking about, you found yourself, or they were off market, or there were yellow letters? Because you're mentioning that there aren't realtors involved and these places weren't even up for sale already. Is that the truth? They're all pretty much off market where you're finding most of your luck with seller financing?
Yeah.
So we run sponsored ads. We actually run them. We love Lake George, by the way. We go there every year. So.
Oh, good. Well, let me know next time you're here. We'll go out on my boat.
We love it.
Every 2 years we go.
It's great. So, and that's why when we found that one deal, Yeah, we do a lot of stuff for run ads, and then those ads really, because when we do, and we actually have a couple techniques that work really, really well, that our videos now for free are getting in front of 30,000 people, some of them. The one we made today is already in front of 10,000 or 11,000 people, and we're not spending a dime for marketing. Are moving our properties. It's fantastic.
To me, it's like our Facebook page, and I'm not so much Instagram, it's more Facebook. There are elements. And so we really are trying to create that brand of who we are, what we do, how we help people. And so the first couple deals, and on either end, buying and selling, people are skeptical. What's this about? Who are you? And then now we even have such a nice following, other random people jumping, oh no, these are legitimate people, they've helped so and so that I know. And so you do the first couple, it's a little nerve-wracking for me. He loves this stuff, but I was a teacher, and the whole out of the box creative financing was just kind of like, took me a few minutes to wrap my head around. But now that I'm in it, I really truly love it. And I would say just keep putting yourself out there and doing more, and you'll get more comfortable with it. Just because it is different, and different's weird to people, and again, it's not for everybody, but those who it's for, it's working out really nice.
And I do have kind of a cheat code because I was in the finance field for 15 years. So doing this with houses just comes natural to me, and I really enjoy it.
Yeah.
So I think we had one more question, and then we'll wrap up so we can be respectful of everyone's time. I know.
Yes.
I think the question was, so you do the 0 down, 0 interest. Do you do a 30-year term, or what is your exit strategy?
So what we try to do is, it depends on the situation. If it's a free and clear house, obviously if it's a 0% mortgage, then they're going to go for it. I'm going to back into, okay, good. It's going to be XYZ payments is where I'm going to owe you. And if they're like, sure, it's 82 payments of $500 a month, and you're paying $40,000 for the house or whatever it is you're buying, then that's how you get back into it in that way. Sometimes they might already have an existing mortgage in place. Now, if they do, you hear the fancy subject to, a lot of people try to do it that way, but it's really not good for the seller, because if the seller wants to qualify for a mortgage later on, that DTI will now be against them. Now, if you buy it on a wraparound mortgage, is what we do in New York State, it's wrap. So if you buy in a wraparound mortgage, there's now a mortgage filed against that. So what's happening is, if they were to try to get a loan later on, the incoming payment they were giving to their mortgage technically is going to be offsetting at least 100%. If not, I think they do up to like 80, 90% of that. They will wash that out so it doesn't screw their DTI up too badly. So they can help them qualify for a mortgage later on. So try to buy it on a wrap. But if they do have an existing mortgage in place, like you just were asking about, we just wrap our mortgage around theirs. I write right in the comment section of our contracts in Monroe County, that's the county we live in, just buying on wrap mortgage around existing, debt and payments. So if they owe 80 grand on the house and their payment's 850, I'm buying it for that 80,000, and I'm taking over their 850 payment that we're paying on their behalf. And then we just—
Can you do all of that with a title company, or are you using a lawyer for everything?
So
Attorney.
we're an attorney state, so everything has to be attorney here, but it's done all over the country. And if you just find an attorney or a closing agent or company that you guys work with that is good with investors, they're familiar with how to do it. But that's the techniques that work super well.
This was fascinating. Thank you.
It's great stuff.
I feel like we need a bigger deep dive into this.
Yeah, I could talk to you guys all day because I'm.
Yeah, we could do.
But it gets deep. But the thing is, if you're sick of having a bank stopping you.
We did that. We were doing the BRRRR strategy.
And we did. And the thing was, the BRRRR strategy, I mean, I'm not going to say yay or nay, but the thing that really stunk about it was we didn't want to be landlords. And being a landlord sometimes is you're being an adult babysitter, and it's a real pain in the where. So with us, we do rent to own. And with our rent to own, we get large down payments. We still get the same cash flow. And actually, we get better cash flow because anything they pay above their rent goes towards their down payment. So some are paying $200 a month. We have one family, they pay an extra $800 a month. We get $2,000 for a condo that nobody in that whole complex is getting anywhere close to that. And we're cash flowing $1,000 a month on that. Over that, actually.
but her down payment wasn't as high as it should be. So we were trying to make sure that she's going to be ready to qualify. So that was the agreement there.
Yeah, but that's the thing is with rent to own, you can do that.
And you can be flexible, yeah.
And you have that flexibility, but they're responsible for the maintenance, the repairs, all of the utilities, all of the upkeep and the maintenance. And you're not dealing with renters. Our folks, our clients are future owners. These are buyers that are just temporary renting until they could buy it. And so they treat the property differently.
Yeah.
They treat it like it's their home. They're so happy that you gave them this opportunity. They've got skin in the game because they handed you a large non-refundable down payment that they know it's not refundable because we actually don't sign this paperwork at the house. We send them to our attorney, which they sit down with, they pay for it, and it's their closing. So if you say the house walkthrough is good today, we send it through screening comes back good. We send it to closing, it's within a week, and they're signing the paperwork, and after that, go to the house and start moving in. So.
Does everybody have shiny object syndrome now with seller financing?
Who's already on my radar? Mindy, do I have time for just one quick more question? You guys mentioned where you find your like sellers, but where do you find your rent to own buyers? Same Facebook market.
Yeah, they are the least of our worries. Like every day, our inboxes are flooded. I posted in a couple of Facebook groups locally where we have a couple of the homes. My personal inbox is just going crazy. Like we've had to hire, that was our first person we hired, was a woman to help us just with all of the buyers from phone calls. We'll do some yellow signs out, rent to own. That'll attract some people too. We've done Craigslist, Zillow. We've pretty much hit up all the areas, I think, at this point.
And it's bombarding because here's the thing, guys, before the coronavirus, pandemic happened, 19% of the US population could qualify for a mortgage, which meant, 81% can't. Now that COVID hit, so many more people are unemployed or had to switch jobs. I bet you that number is 15% or much lower even. So that means our clients are the 85% of the country, where everybody else trying to sell a house, you're dealing with the 15% who could get mortgages. So we have a much larger clientele base now, but out of that clientele base, we are only going to work with the ones who have got money and have the ability to afford a house. We've had situations where we've had people who've had really big down payments because they got a settlement, but I'm looking at what they make and they shouldn't be able to get this kind of house. It's just too much. The ratios are way out of whack.
Yeah, it would be putting them in a bad situation.
And you know that you're going to get the house back. So I tell them straight up, I talk to him like I was his big brother. I'm like, hey, I love you, but this is a bad financial move. And I don't want to take this money knowing that you're never going to get it back. And then you're going to be kicked out when you can't afford this place anymore. And that's going to be bad for both of us. And I don't want to do that. We're still going to work together, but we need to find you a different house. And he was so happy that I wasn't some,
because there's scams out there and it has a bad, those people have done that. But if you do the right thing.
And he had $25,000 down, and there's so many people who would have took advantage of this young man, and it just wasn't the right thing. And we still got great money for the house, not quite as much, but really close. And I'm still really happy, and I'm happy he now sends us a lot of leads, of seller leads. So
yep.
We tell them what we're looking for.
He's a UPS or FedEx driver, so definitely let your people know. I'm always looking for houses.
and we do advertise if you find us a house and we buy it, we pay you $1,000. And guys, that's one of your best lead sources is your personal friends and family. If you want to do this for free, you got to get on there. Say, guys, listen, I'm going to pay $1,000 for referrals that I buy. If you know anyone who's thinking of selling a home, maybe it's a friend, a family member, a coworker, somebody if we buy that home, we will pay you $1,000 thank you. So what happens is once this happens, they almost work for you now, and you got to keep saying it because now oh geez, I could get $1,000 for just sharing this post, and if one of my friends likes it, and I get $1,000 and we pay it, and we take a video of us doing it, they get pumped for it. So that's been working well because we have had a bunch of referrals. So
I love that you guys are using Facebook, and that's an Uncle Grant Cardone thing too. Use social media. Don't let social media use you. I love Facebook for that.
Yeah.
I was just thinking as you guys were talking, I was wondering if you, I did end up getting a house. We call it subject to here. So I took over somebody's mortgage. So I'm super interested to see the scale you took it to. That's awesome. and definitely gave me a little more shiny object syndrome.
Yes, thank you for that. As if we didn't have enough shiny objects already.
No credit, no money.
Right. So yeah, there's always so many tempting things. And, I guess like what you guys were kind of saying earlier is just, find something that you do really well and work at that, get real good at that. And then start opening your playbook to other things. And you might find out the next thing you step into is not great. I like the fact that passive income where, our tenants don't really call us for stuff because they're not really tenants.
Once in a blue moon.
Once in a blue moon,
There's
but
2 blue moons.
there's 2 blue months last month. So, but either way, that's.
There's a guy doing that in my area here, and I happened to run into him as actually I was bidding a concrete job at his place, and he was doing exactly what it sounded to me, exactly like what you guys explained, and it was very interesting to me.
Yeah, we've bumped our heads a lot of different times, and working husband and wife together always has challenges, but we push each other, and it's great. And where she was all about social media at first, and I wasn't, and then she obviously proved to be more than right because it's working out really well. And just kind of fitting on what you're good at, and that's I think what's important. And if you're good at certain things, really work at that. And find out what you like to do, and if there's certain things that you don't like to do, find somebody that you could have on your team do those things, or get somebody on your team. Like we've got folks that work for us who are young guys who reached out to us and said, we want to be real estate investors, but we don't know how to start. I'm like, well, we were actually thinking of adding some folks to our team, and this is how it's work. Half your compensation we're going to be in education. Other half is if you bring us a deal and we buy that deal, you're going to get paid, and we're going to train you how to do it. So one of our guys just got a $3,100 check last week. And he's pretty pumped because he's got a job, and the other one's got a nice check coming, and we've got a few more deals working right now where he's got another check coming, and we're starting to get some momentum. So you could get people on board to help you with some of those things that you don't want to do and make some of those calls. If you spend a little bit of time teaching them what to do, they'll make them for free if you find the right candidate who wants to be an investor, but they just, they're looking for a mentor. So, we've got that going, and that works really well. You pay, you eat if you force and you find something. So that's how it works.
And definitely, guys, I'm on Instagram. I'm on there like all the time. Jen, Jenn, Delafave, last name spelled right there. So yeah, hit me up. We'll answer questions. We love helping people out, and we want to do a mentor group. We're just not there yet with their time. We're remote learning with 2 little kids still and growing our business. But if you have questions, definitely we'd love to chat over it. I love these little communities.
Oh, I'm reaching out.
I'm reaching out as well. I already was in conversation this morning with another investor on talking about rent to own, just because it is super expensive to live in Maui, and how we can, help our community more and get more people into homes here, because it's very expensive. The medium price here for a 3-bedroom home is $600,000 to $700,000. So I would be very interested in learning how you guys do the rent to own, because it's definitely needed in a lot of expensive communities, especially.
Well, see, in your area, where it actually be fantastic is you buying on terms there, because to buy a house for $600,000 is really hard to do. But if somebody says, yes, I will let you make monthly payments, and then you could sell that on rent to own later on, there'll be more than enough people beating at your door to buy somewhere where you live, especially because you live in a really unique spot. So if you could find people that will sell to you houses on terms where you live, you're in a gold mine. And you don't have to get a bank to give you yes or no, and you don't have to come up with the money, other people's money. So, but we live in upstate New York, so everybody hears New York and they think New York City. Like, we're not in New York City. We're 6 hours from New York City, actually. So we live in a community where our county is like not even quite 1 million people, and we've got 2 cities on each side of us that are about the same size. So it's a decent market, but obviously
Not like that.
Not where you are.
That's nuts.
Our average house here is 130,000. I think 130 to 140,000. So they're not terribly expensive. So if you're in an island, get it.
Yeah.
I would be.
Well, I really appreciate you guys sharing all your information. I mean, you're gonna have to maybe be one of our special guests because we're gonna have so many. You guys are just doing something that's like it's so simple, but like not very many people are doing it. So it's just cool. I appreciate you taking a happy hour and answering everybody's questions.
Oh, it's great to be on with you
Our
guys.
pleasure.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah. Well, I know Mindy's super hungry, so we're gonna get going. And I guess, I don't know, I guess all of you obviously have the link, but if you want to share it with your friends for next month, we'll be here the third week of every month. That would be what, December 17th. So see you then, I guess.
Thank you, everyone.